a daughter. I've been a failure as a woman. I have been a failure as a lover. I'd probably even be a failure as a wife. Am I so much of a failure that I can't be in heaven with you, God?
What? People cut all the time. It's nothing to lose your appetite about.
I be trying to teach the man about God, but he be rebellious.
Why? Because he listened to metal bands and watched action movies?
It sucks that being a good dancer isn't enough.
What do you mean?
Well, it helps to know people. That's why you're lucky, Abby. You have your mom to help you. I wish my mom could afford to give as much money to the Butler Ballet as yours does.
What is this?
Mom, you don't understand.
I don't understand. You put this act on that you're tired all the time when all you're doing is cutting yourself? You know how this destroyed my life.
Sarah, please.
Scripture clearly teaches that this is wrong.
I don't think we should bring this up right now.
Not bring up what God thinks about her cutting. Are you serious?
I think we need to calm down first.
I am calm. You are the one who is getting upset.
Agape is a theatrical production based on the topic of self-harm. It's based off real-life stories from people who have dealt with self-harm that we've talked to over the last 6 years. The story itself centers around a ballet dancer named Abby. She is 16 years old, and she feels very controlled by her mother.
You amaze me. You talk about wanting to be in the Nutcracker for years, and when you finally get a role that could change your life, you don't want to practice.
I was practicing.
Cinderella, the Sugar Plum Fairy is what you need to be focusing on.
This is why I hate you watching me.
My name's Amanda. I play the character of Abby. She is a very complex girl. She has a lot of emotion. She keeps things inside a lot, and she has a lot of pressure put on her by the world and her mother, and then she chooses to cut as an outlet for her frustration.
Now her mother also cut 20 years before, and so she was she got healed from it, and she was an advocate for self-harm. At least she thought she was healed. And so she's been an advocate for self-harm, preaching the dangers of it, and while her daughter is cutting right under her nose.
The body is a temple. You are supposed to treat it with respect.
You should talk. You squeeze ice all the time.
Oh, don't you dare turn this around on me, young lady. You are not to cut any more. Do you understand?
My name is Janet Hodson, and I am playing Sarah in Agape. We all have this small place at the very center of our being that may be empty. And we try to fill that space with whatever. We try to fill that space with food, with drugs, with alcohol, with relationships. And one of the things I learned is that when people cut, that for a split second during the cutting, they get a sense of calm and peace and control. It sounds weird, but they do. And it fills that empty spot that is within them.
Do you see how her friends treat her? How everyone treats her? Even your mother, Lady Claymore, who loves Abby, asked her to do this thing at the homeless shelter because she agrees to everything.
My name is Scott Trammell, and I have the honor of playing the role of Mark Riley in the Agape production.
What's so funny?
Dad!
A cat chasing a dog? How original. Oh, look, honey, in Libby's status. In a relationship. Sounds serious.
It is serious. They've been together 3 days.
That's longer than some marriages.
One of the main things that I've learned about self-harm and being a part of this production is that different people respond to things in different ways, and it helps us to be more Christ-like, to be more compassionate and understanding of those people and their feelings and possibly their reasons for behaving the way that they do.
This bright green neon shirt, I wasn't about to give in. Then your grandfather did something completely unexpected.
What, did Grandpa tie you down and put a gun to your head?
Worse than that, he done poisoned my mind with some fancy chocolate truffles. And I know the man don't put poison in them. He had to, for me to buy that ugly neon shirt. Mercy! My name is Tyra Loki Robinson, and I play the part of Lady Claymore. She is a backwoods preacher's wife, about 65 to 70 years old. She's very old school, very country, but is absolutely in love with the Lord.
We have an emergency. The dress we got for the dance? It's not the right color.
My name is Beth Bordenkecker, and I will be playing Joan in Agape. Joan is Abby's lifetime long friend. She and Abby have a complicated relationship at times, but they will always be true to their hearts.
Not just I am Charlie. He wants to know how you're doing.
Oh,
Joan has a thing for Matt.
I do not.
So you don't want me to text Charlie, text Matt anything?
I didn't say that.
What do you want me to say?
Hi, I'm Holly, and I'm playing Libby in this production of Agape. She is a 16-year-old valley girl, kind of ditzy, and she's always on her phone, and she's in love with Charlie.
I am a cutter. I'm an advocate for self-harm. I've given lectures on how things like prostitution and drugs, even how things like exercise can be a form of escape, a form of self-harm. I have talked to people about this for over 20 years. And yet, when my own daughter struggles with it, I don't see it. I know that when people cut, they often do other things. How could I not see that she was believing, that she was in pain? How could I be so stupid?
I believe that the goal is for those that are watching it to learn more about cutting, because there are lots of people that have heard of it but really don't understand it. There'll be people in the audience who know somebody that cuts, or there may even be somebody in the audience that does cut, and we have resources for them so that they can get help.
We also have a goal of reaching the church community and educating them of what it is and how they can respond to it in a positive and healthy way.
I knew nothing about self-harm before this production. Now that I've been exposed to what self-harm's all about, it has really touched my life. I feel like I am now more compassionate towards people who do things that are destructive to themselves. It doesn't always have to be cutting. It can be drugs, it can be alcohol, it can be anything that is destructive to your body.
When we do accuse ourselves, we fall straight into the enemy's hands because of the negative tape that plays in our heads.
Negative tape?
Yes, negative tape. The tape that says we are failures at everything we do. When you get an A-, well, I didn't study hard enough. When you fail at a dance move, well, I didn't practice hard enough. When you see another dancer in the magazine, well, I'm not skinny enough. When you
break your ankle. I wasn't cautious enough when I was trying to harm myself.
But I'm not trying to harm myself.
Can I pray with you?
I can't.
God doesn't want to heal this.
It doesn't work like that. I have to fix this myself.
Agape is the purest form of love. It's a love that has no restraint, no hindrances. There's no condition on it. So our goal is to bring a discussion, to bring this to the light, to hear what God says about people that are self-harming, to hear their heart, to be able to understand their position and understand what they are dealing with day in and day out.
The most powerful thing I experience with Agape is talking to real life people who struggle with self-harm. It really causes you to think of the things they deal with. There was one person that I dealt with, went to a Christian counselor, and they were so unfamiliar with cutting that they looked at that person and said, God hates that you cut. Not God hates what you're going through, not God hates your trauma, not God hates whatever you're dealing with that causes you to cut, but God hates that you cut. And when you hear that, you think God hates you. And again, I think this is back to the misunderstanding about what it is, because when we don't understand it, we have a tendency to react. We don't have a tendency to think they're just going through pain, like somebody that does drugs, somebody that drinks alcohol. It's the same kind of thing. It's a coping mechanism. And when I've talked to many different people that cut, and I've asked them, what do you want out of this production? They all say the same thing. They say, why is my coping skill any different than somebody that drinks alcohol, somebody that does drugs, somebody that overeats, somebody that overexercises? And I really started to think maybe those are all forms of self-harm too, ways that we learn to cope with emotional things. We can't handle the emotional trauma in our life, so we want something we can control. So we start to drink, or we start to become promiscuous because we can control that, and we really hate ourselves. And it just really, when we think about it in that way, it's not just 1 in 5 people, it's a lot of us.
She's not breathing, believing. I don't know if she'll make it through the night. She's just screaming for reason to let her know that everything's alright. Just let her know that everything's alright. Please